What is up, everybody? My name is Famous and welcome to another episode of Pokemon Go. A couple of weeks ago I made a video talking about the top 10 Pokemon to save your candy for Generation 4. Well, a lot of people had some questions and said that I left a lot of Pokemon off, so that's exactly what this video is for. It's going to be the lesser known Generation 4 Pokemon that you should save candy for. Also, I want to say if you do enjoy this content, be sure to like and subscribe. It's going to let me know what you actually want to see. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this list. At the 11th spot, we have Frostlast with a max CP of 1,857. Frostlast is a dual-type Pokemon of Ice and then also Ghost-type. So Frostlast evolves from Snow Runt and is the female version of it. So it would have to be specifically female to evolve into a Frostlast once Generation 4 hits. Frostlast does pick up a different typing by adding on the Ghost type. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This is going to be the meme of Pokemon Go once Generation 4 gets added in, and that is Provopass. With a max CP of 1,863, Provopass is a dual-type Pokemon of Rock and then also Steel-type. So Provopass evolves from Nosepass. Provopass also has a different typing because it picks up the Steel type. I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of fun with trying to catch this. Definitely a funny looking Pokemon and something that I think a lot of people will want to have in their Pokédex. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This is by far going to be my favorite Pokemon model of this entire list, and that is Dusknoir with a max CP of 2,046. Dusknoir is a pure Ghost-type Pokemon and evolves from Duskull. This is a Pokemon that is borderline being useful. I don't know if it's going to quite do it, but as far as the Ghost type goes, Ghost type is actually kind of weak in a lot of ways as far as like depth of how many Pokemon are good. So Dusknoir could easily be in the top 5. But regardless, it's a great looking Pokemon. It's going to be a ton of fun. I could easily see this being another Halloween event when Generation 4 launches. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This one I'm not so excited about, but there is definitely a point that we can talk about. And that is Ambipom with a max CP of 2,218. Ambipom is a pure normal type Pokemon. Ambipom evolves from Apom. The one thing I would say about this is sometimes that what you need to consider with a new generation coming in is that you need to make sure that you have enough candy to be able to evolve it. But not only that, but that you also have a Pokemon that you can evolve. As more generations get added, it's going to be harder and harder and harder to find a specific Pokemon. Let's go ahead and move on to the next Pokemon. This Pokemon looks absolutely incredible and something I'm personally very excited about catching. And that is Licky. With a max CP of 2,359, Licky is a pure normal type Pokemon and evolves from Lickitung. Licky looks like a mayor of a cartoon town, and then it also has like the Wi-Fi signals on it in the front. Definitely an epic looking Pokemon. But this is another Pokemon that Lickitung isn't that common in the game. You used to be able to hatch it from eggs. You can see it in the wild a little bit. But what I would recommend you to do is to not evolve one, hold on to one once again, and so when Generation 4 comes around, you can go ahead and cross one off your Pokédex. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. We borderline have a Pokemon that is useful, and that is Mismagius with a max CP of 2,465. Mismagius is a pure Ghost-type Pokemon. Mismagius evolves from Misdreavus, and once again, like I said, Ghost-type is a little bit weak, so Mismagius could actually perform pretty well. Could it outdo Baynet? It is very possible. Now, I know it wouldn't outdo Gengar, but to be in the top 5 is something that a Pokemon should definitely be proud of and something that I'm personally very excited to see in the game. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This is a Pokemon that got mentioned in the comment section of the last video quite a bit, and that is Hunch Crow with a max CP of 2,566. Hunch Crow is a dual-type Pokemon of Dark and then also Flying type. Hunch Crow evolves from Murkrow. Something cool about Hunch Crow is because Murkrow has a shiny variant available in the game, you could actually end up with a Generation 4 shiny at the very beginning of the launch, which would be really cool to be able to say that. I think it is an incredible looking Pokemon. I like the way it looks, definitely like the color combination to it, and once again, borderline useful. Rocking out at about the 2,500 mark with a Dark type. That could actually be used, once again, just kind of dependent on the moveset though. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, and that is Gliscor with a max CP of 2,602. Gliscor is a dual-type Pokemon of Ground and then also Flying type. Gliscor evolves from Gligar. I don't have too much to say about this Pokemon. I don't think it's going to be quite as useful, but it's definitely something that you need to consider so that you can cross one off of your Pokédex entry. Let's go ahead and move on to the next Pokemon. This is the second Pokemon on the list that got mentioned quite a bit in the last video, and that is Roserade with a max AP of 2,783. Roserade is a dual-type Pokemon of Grass and then also Poison-type. Roserade evolves from Roselia. A couple people were saying, is it embarrassing that I am excited about Roserade being in the game? Absolutely not. It's definitely a majestic looking Pokemon. It's a Pokemon that I think a lot of people would want to have. It's borderline being useful. You can go ahead and check out its CP. Of course, it depends on the moveset as well. But Grass type, I mean, there's a chance it could easily crack into the top 10. Those are my favorite Pokemon, are the ones that not only look incredible, but that are also useful, and I think Roserade crosses off both of those. Let's go ahead and move on to it. We are down to the final two. In the second place position, we have Weavile with a max AP of 2,815. Weavile is a dual-type Pokemon of Dark and then also Ice-type. Weavile evolves from Sneasel. This is a Pokemon that could be interesting from an Ice-type perspective. Ice-type is something that is a little bit on the weak side as far as having a depth of Pokemon that are good from that perspective. I think Weavile's got a huge opportunity. Even from the dark side, there's even a little bit of an opportunity, but once again, as always, it just depends on the moveset, so I don't want to speculate on that too much, but I do want to go ahead and get it in your minds a little bit so that when it comes out, you kind of have a plan. Let's go ahead and move into the number 1 spot. This is a Pokemon that I'm very excited to talk about, a Pokemon that I think is going to be very useful and is going to be my favorite Pokemon that received an evolution in Generation 4, and that is Gallade with a max AP of 2,964. Gallade is a dual-type Pokemon of Psychic and then also Fighting-type. Gallade is a part of the Ralts family and will evolve from Kirlia in the male form. So this is a Pokemon that once again splits on the gender. The female version would evolve into a Gardevoir, and then the male version would evolve into a Gallade. Before Generation 4 gets added though, the way that it works now is everything just evolves into a Gardevoir. So if you do have a male version of a Kirlia, I would recommend you to go ahead and hold on to it. So Gallade has a couple things going for it that's a little bit different. First things first, we have a change in the typing. It is no longer a Psychic Fairy type. It is now a Psychic Fighting type. So it does pick up the Fighting type as well. So from an attacking perspective, Gallade could actually be good from 2 different ways. It could be good psychically and then also fighting. It depends on the moveset, but if we see from a psychic perspective that this Pokemon has Future Sight, you can bet it will be incredible. And then from the fighting standpoint, if it ends up getting a move like Dynamic Punch, you can bet it's going to be good from a fighting perspective. I'm not sure what people would do if it ended up having both of them. It just kind of depends on what works out best, but definitely an exciting Pokemon to talk about. So that just about wraps up this video. I hope you did enjoy this content. I hope that you are saving your candies for Generation 4, at least for these specifically. You can go ahead and start doing it. And the fact that a couple of them are actually going to be useful in the game is an added bonus and something that I am very excited to see. I also wanted to announce that I am selling shirts right now until June 4th. For a Raid Like a Boss shirt, we have all teams represented, including Team Rocket. If you decide to buy one of these shirts, know that it is going to a good cause. Half of the profit is going to St. Jude's Research Hospital. So I hope you do consider the purchase. But anyways, I will see you next time.
Hit me like a tidal wave.